Hello and welcome to a quick replay review of two games I've played against Sinister. Sinister is pretty good. He's well beyond the level of like not knowing build orders or anything like that. He specifically asked me to help practice against Blade Master in general, but I think he was struggling with early game Blade Harass. And I think I have some insight based on these two games as to what his major problems are. Not major problems, but what the cause of his struggles are. That's what I should say. He doesn't have major problems, just things he struggles with. Right. So this creep camp, you can kill this entire creep camp before the Blade Master gets there. And this is a demonstration of exactly how you do that. In fact, I'm going to slow it down. You pull the creep camp back. You summon the water elemental. You kill the ogre first because it drops the item, and the item not only will that stop the Blade Master stealing it from you, but also it will creep the camp faster with the item. If you get a circle or a clause, you will then creep the camp faster, and it might even make a difference. Maybe 3 or 4 claws of attack fireballs will actually mean this Blade Master who was on his way didn't get there in time. And again, you cancel the water elemental so that the Blade Master does not get the XP. So that was perfect. Apart from that footman getting ensnared, that was absolutely perfect. And that is how it should go every time. So, if you can't do that, practice that until you can, and that's all you need to worry about. So, I then wanted to pressure him a bit. I wanted to make sure he doesn't go to level 2, so I send the Blade Master in. This grunt going in is a mistake, he just shouldn't have been in there, so let's just pretend that didn't happen. That wouldn't happen in a normal game. So, at this point, the Orc is just trying to stop you get level 2. That's what they're doing. They don't expect to kill your Archmage at this point, because they definitely won't until they get boots, which doesn't come until later. So I'm, as the Orc, I'm just trying to stop you getting level 2. Now, what do you do in this situation when you have nearly another third water elemental, you want to get level 2 so you can start banking that mana, you've got a Blade Master chasing you. What I've seen some players do is they go for the Orc screen with just like one footman and their Archmage, while the rest of the footman and the water elementals sort of chase, focus down the Blade Master, run around, and maybe you lose a footman, whatever, but you try and get the Blade Master away from your army. Focusing the Blade Master is good, it forces him to go home, and that gives you enough time to creep one camp, hopefully. And I think that's what happens here. The Blade Master gets focused, he eventually has to go home, has to go to his Voodoo Lounge, which is building. That's why the Orc builds the Voodoo Lounge at the right time, so they know they can always come back, grab the stuff. In this case, I'm going past this, so I think, right, I'll just buy my boots of speed in my circle here, creep to this camp in the meantime. I actually think there is a better creep camp to do than this. I think you have two options. Either you, when you chase the Blade Master away, you know he's not coming back for a while. He has no mana, and you know this is the time that you have. I think if you time it well, I'm not sure on this, but I think you could militia creep this and then get a priest. I think that might be quite nice. I think creeping this and then creeping a bit closer to the Orc was a mistake. The Murloc camp I don't think is a good creep camp for the human to take early on, because the AI will tell them to attack as many units as possible, so you're just going to spread damage out on all your footmen. This is a typical early game Orc versus human fight where the Orc has a chance to pick off probably a few footmen, but the human cannot really do anything. So, at this point, also the Archmage does not have boots, but the Blade Master does. That's always a dangerous situation to be in. I do recommend the Archmage gets boots. So his tech, I think, is nearly done. He's going to grab the Beastmaster and he's going to push. This is good. I absolutely agree with this. I think the only thing that maybe he could have done differently was have, say, a footman here with your Archmage here, grab the Ivory Towers, and then push. That's the only difference I would say, right? So you cancel the Beastry. This is all great stuff. This is textbook how to play human against Orc. It's all going very, very well for him. He lost 2 footmen, but the damage he's about to inflict should more than make up for that. So the Blade Master went to buy health potion. So what is the Orc going to do here? The Orc is in so much pain that he feels, right, the only thing, the way I can get out of this is focus the Archmage. Should the Archmage have TP? Maybe, maybe not. Like, if you look at the situation, I think probably, maybe not, I think. But okay, what the human should do right now is creep this camp. Absolutely, you should creep this camp. You need to clear. It's funny that this grunt's here and he actually survives as well, because neither of us spotted that he was right there until it was too late. So I actually, interestingly, get a bit of information. I'm like, alright, okay, he's going to do that Merc camp. That means I've got some room to do this camp. Unfortunately, I thought my illusions were going to last a lot longer than they really do, so I ended up doing quite a messy job. He's right to go and creep. I think he just should have creeped this. It would be a lot safer. And it would have cleared an expansion spot for later in the game. So he's making. I don't think you want spellbreakers that much. I think you probably want a priest or two, because as you noticed in the last fight, his hero got focused. You're going to need at least one priest. He does get a shadow priest actually, so that might make up for it. That's okay. Now, buy as much as you can. If you're about to fight, right? Here's a general rule. If you're about to fight, you want to spend all your money as close to the fight as possible, because that means you are bringing sort of resource to this fight. You're putting resource into the fight, and hopefully your opponent is investing their resource. So for example, I'm investing in spirit walkers that I want to have. I'm investing my health on creeping so that I can get more items later. But if you invest everything up front, so you buy a tavern here, or you maybe sell the Belt of Giant Strength so that you can buy a bunch of ivory towers, bring your militia, that's all like putting a load of resource up front into a fight. So here he's about to push me again. Not a terrible idea. I think maybe it would have been better to go for the Archmage level 3. I guess he creeps his camp first and then pushes me. I creep this camp, and I think I creep my expansion as well if I remember this game correctly. So you get level 3, okay, yeah. What I said was correct then. I remembered it wrong, but the advice I gave, he followed. So yeah, get some items. He's doing what I said, pushing to get as much investment in this fight as possible. He could have sent something back to grab a few ivory towers, and then he could have brought some peasants and militia right now. That would have added force to this fight, and it probably wouldn't cost him. He wouldn't have cost him anything to summon the militia, and it would only cost, what, I think it's 50-50 for the scout towers. So yeah. So as you can see, this push is all designed to put as much onto the orc in one particular point as possible. It's like poking somebody with a pointy stick rather than like slapping them with a staff. You know, it puts pressure all in one situation. So the orc's going to counter by putting pressure entirely on one situation as well, by just trying to focus on the Archmage. Archmage does have an invulnerability potion, but they don't last very long, 7 seconds. People really do think that 7 seconds is a lot longer than it is. Blade Master goes invisible. I know that's about to end soon. Right, here we go, we're going to focus this. That was actually a misclick, but I end up killing a sorceress. We're going to kill this Archmage now. Because as the orc, I'm so far behind, and I know that I can't win this fight without a lot of Spirit Walker mana, I just try and focus the Archmage down, because that's my only situation I can do anything. Now, I mentioned towers. Now imagine in this game, if instead of creeping this camp, he had creeped the gold mine. He would have had probably a little bit less XP, he wouldn't have this Jolt of Giant Strength. Is it really doing very much? Probably not. He would instead have had a circlet or whatever. And imagine if he had this creep camp open, and he had brought towers to this, whether it's with militia or ivory towers. The orc currently, there is no time pressure at all, and this is going to be the theme of this review. You need to put a time pressure on the orc. Right now, the only pressure is he's in my base killing stuff, which is, you know, bad, but he hasn't got an expansion going up. There's no towers going up. I have no real time limit on me. The Blade Master should survive, so I can just hang back and just have the Blade Master do things. I don't have a shop, which is really painful. Like, can't underestimate that, but his summons are going to run out. He's going to run out of mana. He doesn't have the Brilliance Aura, so the time is actually on my side. If we go into long, drawn-out battles, the Blade Master will do lots and lots of hits. He'll wear down the army. The Shadow Hunter will come back, and I'll get units out to reinforce me. So the longer the fight goes on, the better for me. This army, by the way, does hardly any damage, as you can see. It just doesn't do very much damage, so you need to be able to spot when you're going to have to back up and go do other things. Right, Shadow comes back, he can heal the Blade Master, he's got a salve on him. I'm pretty stable now. I did lose a burrow, which is pretty miserable, and I had to cancel my Spirit Lodge, I think. I can't remember if I cancelled my Beastry and rebuilt it. Yeah, that was earlier in the game. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about there. I did have to move my Spirit Lodge over here. I lost my shop, which is quite painful. I'm going to rebuild it. I'm rebuilding it in a safe spot. If I rebuild it there, that's not safe. What I want in the next fight is to be able to use the Beastry as like cover, so I can stand in my shop. Right, he backs off. I think the correct thing to do here is to go creep this camp. Maybe even creep the red. That might be a bit ambitious, creeping the red, but he needs a gold mine free right now. Absolutely needs a gold mine free so that he can expand. Because the Orc at the minute has no map control. I can't go out on the map and attack him. That army will annihilate me in open ground. I have, low HP. My Shadow Hunter is not 3 yet. I don't even think he gets 3 from this camp either. And so, again, this principle of applying upfront resource is the basis of the human strategy, which is good that he is doing this. But he's missing some key points. He's not got any additional threat. He doesn't have the threat of towers. He could just bring some militia, threaten with towers, and he doesn't have an expansion that's threatening me with late game and economy. So if this fight just lasts 20 minutes, so say we get into a fight here that just lasts forever, he doesn't have an expansion going up, I don't have an expansion going up, I have a Shadowhunter and a Blade Master who are getting levels, he has a Beastmaster and an Archmage that gets levels. The Orc benefits in that situation, especially if you're in their base. So, let's watch this fight. Beastmaster's a bit out of position. I did spot that he had a Book of the Dead. I knew I had loads of disenchants. Wasn't really a problem. It's actually, I think, better to sell the Book of the Dead once you get to a certain point. It's just a big free XP tome for the Orc, unfortunately. Right, in this battle, we're fighting next to my shop. I've got a lot of Spirit Walker mana, and the Blade Master has a few nice items. He doesn't have like crazy stack of items, like an extra claws or an extra circlet would do. But the Shadowhunter, sitting at the back, unbothered, he's going to just pop his clarities, he's going to heal things. And let's see how this happens. If you just watch what this Blade Master's doing in this fight, we'll just watch the Blade Master. Forget what's going on up there, we might even restart the replay. We'll just watch the Blade Master. He's just chopping, he's chopping, he's chopping, he's chopping and chopping, and chopping and chopping and chopping. He's chopping, right, he gets a healing potion, he gets a healing potion. He's chopping away. He's chopping away. He has to back up a bit because he's a bit damaged. He's chopping. He's chopping. He keeps chopping. Forget what's happening up here. He's just chopping. He's got now they've got the Kodo Beast Aura as well. Shadow is healing him. He's got a mana potion. Yep. He's just chopping still. He's just chopping. He's chopping. He's chopping. He's chopping. Chop chop chopping. Yeah, there was not actually that many crits there. I got 2 crits in a row there, because if you know how crits work, if you don't get a lot of crits for a long period of time, some might come together. So he's just chopping, he's chopping, he's still chopping. He's actually chasing now. Right, he's done now, he's done with this battle, he can't really heal. But did you see how long the Blade Master was unmolested, just chopping away there? Absolutely nothing was stopping him. He wasn't being slowed that much. He was always within range of things. He was next to the shop, so he could buy healing potions, and so the Shadowhunter was unharassed as well, so the Shadowhunter could keep healing him. At the moment, the Blade Master was just chasing him down, but eventually gets put invisible, and then the Blade Master just collects some healing, and that pretty much ends it. There was no time pressure on the Orc at all there. He was fine. The Orc was fine to just have the Blade Master sit and chop at whatever. He's chopping at watermelons, he's chopping away at spellbreakers. There was no expansion going up, there was no towers going up. There was no pressure on the Orc to end the battle quickly. And that is the ideal situation for an Orc. If an Orc wants you to come into their base with no damage and fight them for 10 minutes, that's like the ideal situation for the Orc. They just keep buying potions, keep buying things, their heroes will eventually go up, and if the Orc gets to level 5 and he gets that level 3 crit, he's just going to wear you down eventually. So you need some sort of time pressure to stop the game before it gets to that situation. Whether that's an expansion, which means your expansion goes up, and then you can get such an economic advantage that you'll win, or if that means putting towers up, then that's fine as well. Right, we're going to watch pretty much an identical game. We're going to watch what happens if you don't put any time pressure on the Orc. Again, just to reinforce that into the head of humans, you have to put some sort of time pressure on the Orc. And think about where you're creeping as well. In this case, I actually do a 1 burrow tech, and Sinister scouts it. He knows, he creeps the first camp, and then he immediately comes to my base. This is the correct counter to 1 burrow tech. If you spot the Orc 1 burrow teching, this is what you should do. You should finish the first camp that you creep, and then you go to their base, and just cancel their second burrow, or then Cepheid lounge or whatever. At the moment, I don't have I've just got a Blade Master, I don't even have a shop. He can just pressure my Blade Master, attack it, and there's nothing I can do. Eventually the Blade Master will die. Fortunately in this situation, that's why I windwalk in that situation, because I know as soon as he focuses the Blade Master, I know that the health of my Blade Master is not coming back for a long time. shops going up. He could just send everything except for his Archmage into my base to cancel his food lounge. And that would be quite miserable for me. But he doesn't. His army's scattered. He's got these 2 water elementals who have spent most of their life doing nothing really. He's got this footman he is chasing the Blade Master. He's not doing anything. And his Archmage is off across the map. I mean, he could loop everything around and go attack again, but all those units, apart from the Archmage, could have just been killing stuff in my base. I have 1 burrow. Literally 1 burrow. The tech is real. Alright, so I just kill this water elemental. He's backed off and given me a lot of space. He should not have done that. He should have pressured me until I either broke or fought it off by getting to tier 2. Again, I don't agree with this creep camp. I think actually this creep camp is about as difficult as this one, and I think maybe in Sinister's head this is a way harder creep camp than this is. Bring a few militia if you're really not that confident. This creep camp with 2 militia maybe at this stage of the game, that would have been absolutely fine. The Orc cannot pressure you. I didn't have a shop. I had no buildings or units. I had no burrow. I have a late hero because my burrow, I couldn't build a burrow while the human was there. So all I have is just a creep of it. What else to say on this? If only this creep camp were cleared instead of these murlocs. He spots me again. I've got nothing as an army here. My only choice is, right, if I focus this Archmage, maybe he'll go away. Maybe if the Archmage goes away, then that might save my life. Right. So I know I'm setting myself up here for a siege. I know he's going to come attack me. He's got Beastmaster. I don't think he has any... I thought at the time that he had towers, but it turns out he doesn't. So my solution, kill the Archmage. Let's get him out of my base. That's what I'm thinking at this stage. I don't want that Archmage anywhere near me. He TPs. I think that's a terrible mistake. Look at my army. I have a grunt. That's it. If he had, say, 4 militia here, could you imagine how much overwhelming that army is? I mean, yeah, he's worried that because we just played the last game, he's thinking, okay, well, I can't fight into the shop. So what will I do? I'll just pressure the Blade Master, but if he hadn't TP'd there, he'd just be sitting outside my base doing damage to my barracks or whatever. If he had towers going up, that would have been great. So what did I say in the last game? You need some sort of time pressure. What he could have done here, still could have done this, could have went to the Ogre Magi with some militia and creep that, and then from there he goes up here and attacks my base. That would mean he was between his expansion and me, so he wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have been able to go around and kill it. But I go and creep the expansion because I think that's what he's doing now. I think right, he's backed off. He knows that he needs some sort of time pressure, so he's gone to creep something.
We're under attack.
So that's what I'm thinking in my head. But no, he's come back to attack me. Right. If you look at what's happening here, I'm creeping this, and then I TP back. I get an item. I think it was close haste, and here we go. And again, I just think, right, get this Archmage out of my base. I don't want him anywhere near me. Right, that's fine. He backs off. Right, that means that these water elementals are not... they're like a temporary problem. These cool beasts as well, probably. He has another 2 to cast. But there's like no time limit on me now, so I've run out of time pressure. Rebuild the shadow when I do. Let's remember my micro. We're going to fast forward a bit. There's these bows. He's not really getting much done at the minute. What's happening is all the damage of his army is going to my burrow, which is being repaired, and all the damage from my army is going onto his footmen. But again, get this Archmage out. I don't want this Archmage anyway here. I don't want his Brilliance Aura. Keep giving the Beastmaster mana, and of course now these Sorceresses, which have made an appearance. And I don't want these Water Elementals sitting in my base doing things. It's actually not something I've really thought about much before, but if you get a human to summon Water Elementals in the middle of the map, that's really quite good, because it means these really slow water elementals have to walk across to wherever you want them to be, and that means half of their timer runs out. And yeah, I actually thought maybe I could pressure him, like maybe I could catch him out here, like maybe I could catch him not healing his Archmage, because I actually watched the last game in between these 2 games, and I noticed that when he went to creep this camp after he TP'd away from me in the last game, he didn't heal his Archmage, so I thought, maybe I could just go back and pick off his Archmage and do something like that. I even brought the Shadow to try and hex him, but it was too late. Thought I could catch him out there. Right, so again, we're going to need some sort of time pressure on the Orc here. What I think, even now, it still is possible that he could go and creep this camp and put an expansion out. if you look at the orc situation, what is my army? It's a raider, a spirit walker, a grunt. I have no map control. A level 1 shadowhunter, a level 1 blade master. He's got a few stacked items, but it's not great. So I'm thinking, right, he's off to creep again. Again, I'm thinking, right, he's gone off to creep, so I can take a bit of a risk here. I'll creep this camp. I'll do it quite safely, pull it away, but I hopefully have some breathing room to finally creep now, and he's not going to attack me again. No, he doesn't. He comes and attacks me. Again, he's applying no time pressure at all to me here. I think, right, okay, I'll just back up and sit in my base until he goes away again, because there's no towers coming. I didn't see any militia. I'm thinking if militia do come, well, that's a problem I'll have to deal with. But, you know, maybe I can. So I've got my Spirit Lodge over here, and that's why I built my Spirit Lodge over here, is because I needed to build my Spirit Lodge during that first pressure attack. And I knew that I couldn't build it in my base because he would just kill it, so I built it over here. Right, let's watch this. He actually spots the Spirit Lodge and goes and builds it. So I build another one, right here.
Work complete.
So, what time pressure is in the orc now to not sit in their base? Is there any reason that I need to go out of my base, otherwise I lose the game? Absolutely not. He's about to attack me, I'll just sit in my base. There's no towers going up. There's no expansion going up. I can just sit in my base, do what I like, and fight. The Blade Master is great at this, by the way. The Blade Master is an expert at sitting next to a shop and winning a battle on his own. That is like it's his jam. Also, you can pick that ritter off. So yeah, sitting here, wear out the mana of sorceresses. I'm quite conscious at this point that because he has the Archmage there pumping out that Brilliance Aura, I am going to have to deal with this fairly soon. Still no towers up, he backs off, I guess. Maybe he's realised at this point he needs to put some sort of time pressure on me, i.e. get an expansion. So good. So when he backs off, I'm like, right, okay, he's finally gone to creep and do something that's not attack me. So I have some room to get some creeping done myself. So I need the Shadow to get high level. Get some healing skulls, because that's really good. I built this Demolisher because I expected this to become like a long siege with towers, and it didn't. So finally he goes to creep this, and he brings militia. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So the next attack he does should apply pressure. Now, in this situation, in this game, he actually doesn't build the expansion. He has, I think, enough to do it. I think he should have just cancelled. Maybe he shouldn't have built the Spellbreaker and just built this expansion instead, and then he would have had it easily enough. Like, I don't think one Spellbreaker is gonna make a difference when you're pushing into the orc base like that. Like, because you're just gonna try and slow them down and take time up. Right. This fight, Beastmaster's out of position a bit, so I think I'll focus him. That's a pretty good disenchant, takes out summons, and this fight pretty much ends the game. There is no time pressure. He should have built an expansion here, and if he had, I think it would have been done by the time this battle was finished, and then he wouldn't feel like this battle was like the game winning or losing battle. Because I was expecting that. That was what I was expecting. I was thinking, right, well, there's probably an expansion going up, so even if I win this battle, the game's not over. I mean, if you'd had a TP, I think that probably would have happened as well. So we kill that. But also, I think what could have helped in this was to get Spellbreakers on the Spirit Walkers. Spirit Walkers are what wins and loses orc battles against humans, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I should say about this battle. There is one little close point that I'll put in here. I'm basically as I'm playing this, I'm thinking, right, how much of a beating can my Blade Master take? At some point he's gonna have to back off because he's gonna get pressured so much that he just has to get out of the fight, and so he's constantly just running through all the resources I have. I need to put clarity on the. He does the right thing and has a Spellbreaker attack the Shadowhunter. So at this point I'm thinking probably gonna lose the Blade Master here. I disenchant the slow and run him away, bad micro, but then he levels up, it's fine. It's fine. No, that was some bullshit, but actually it shouldn't have happened anyway because I should have moved him back. But yeah, whatever. No, now, so the theme of this story is if you're going to pressure someone, you have to put time pressure on them. They can't just sit in their base and do nothing and get away with it. You have to put some sort of time pressure on it. And I think the best way he could have done that was either putting up towers or putting up an expansion. The other way you can actually put time pressure on people if they're sitting in their base is just creeping the map. Because that means that the longer they sit in their base creeping piddly little green camps, because they've got a terrible army, you're creeping reds, so that means with that kind of map control he could have crept both the reds. Like, for example, when he, towards the end of that one, when he went to creep his expansion, if he'd instead went and creeped the red in the top left, that would have given him a really nice item, would have given him a load of XP, and there probably wouldn't have been any noticeable difference otherwise. Like, I wouldn't have creep jacked him or anything because I had no map control. I wasn't able to go across the map and fight him. My only chance was that he kept attacking me and kept giving me the chance to get back into the game, which is exactly what happened. So there you go, that's my review of that game. Put time pressure on an orc when you're towering them, well, when you're attacking them. And actually, we played a game on Turtle Rock before those two games where he did tower me and put a time pressure on me. And I think that might be like a mental thing about the map. Like, because it's so hard to expand on Turtle Rock, that's just, for a human this is, maybe that's just not an option. Maybe your only plan on Turtle Rock as a human is to just tower them. And that was perhaps what Sinister was thinking. And for whatever reason, he didn't put any towers up against me on Last Refuge, and I think he probably would have won the game if he did. Just 2 towers, even. Not even, the full 3 plus 2 ivories or anything like that. Just putting some kind of time pressure on me would have meant I couldn't just sat in my base and survive it until you leave and then let me creep. So yeah, that's some of my advice, versus human. Thanks for watching.